Have you ever felt stuck in the middle, accountable for delivering outcomes, but without the authority to make decisions? Hey, I'm Leonie McCarthy, and as an external project advisor and leader, I've helped many businesses of different shapes and sizes deliver their projects. Today, we're talking about personal power, which is your ability to influence through trust and credibility rather than titles. Many project leaders miss the opportunity to build their personal power and inadvertently undermine their own credibility. Let's take a look at some of the things that you can do that will improve your influence on your next project. Firstly, mastering your reactions in the moment. Personal power is grounded in self-awareness and emotional mastery. We all have those days of being our best selves where mastery of emotions like frustration and overwhelm is both in reach and doable. And then there are those other days, maybe a bit less sleep, not getting outside, having back-to-back conversations that you find draining and difficult that leave you depleted. You're not your best self and you don't keep control of your emotions. Here's an anecdote from a recent experience I had. I had an encounter where I pushed a team who were already stretched too hard on a deliverable that they had been promising for weeks. My frustration crept into the tone and they started to shut down. So how I got this back on track was picking up the phone and apologising firstly and asking for their understanding. We're back on track now, but the key here for me was noticing that physical reaction in the moment. You know that saying about feeling sick to your stomach? It's the vagus nerve that connects your brain and your gut. We have a physiology that tells us when we're not in a good place. For me, over the years, learning to pay attention to that, taking a breath and asking myself, usually inside my head, why am I having this reaction? Starts to help me control it. I tell the people I train that it's our job to be the calmest person in the room. And to do that, you need to control your reactions. So here's a, possibility. You could audit your recent reaction history. What did you feel? Physically, emotionally? Why do you think that was? No perfect answers here. Tip number 2 is focusing your circle of control. So, in my experience, effective leaders focus their energy on what they can control and influence, not what's outside their reach. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be aware of and keeping an eye on what's outside your reach. That stuff can escalate. But your day-to-day, you should be spending around 80% of your energy on what's inside your control. It's going to make you feel calmer and more capable. I'll give you an example. I have a client that I'm working with and they have a vendor that's running late with the delivery of a new feature. I'm sure this is just an unusual exception to vendors and that they usually run on time. And what can the project leader do in this situation? Well, not a lot about the vendor, but managing internal communication is one thing that we can do. We ensure that everyone who's expecting something knows that the timeline has shifted. We can reallocate and shuffle some work internally. We can prepare the training plan, the communication plan. There's not a lot I can do about the vendor having a dev team of only 2 people. My energy is better spent reorganising internally and resetting expectations. Sometimes I do this. Take a piece of paper or a notebook, 2 columns. What I can control, what I cannot control. It can be quite cathartic. Tip number 3 is building credibility through consistency. Your influence grows when your actions are consistent with your words. And that's one of those things that's really easy to say and not so easy to do. To me, this is 2 separate things. It's about ensuring that you keep your promises, but also about sharing the bad with the good. Teams trust you more when you share both the positives and the negatives of a project. Big system changes are really hard work, and pretending that it'll all be sunshine and rainbows is a sure way to lose the confidence of your team. I had this experience recently with a project sponsor who made a throwaway comment at the end of a call. Well, as long as it all goes to plan. Hold on a sec. Just so we're clear, the plan that you have in your head right now is very unlikely to unfold without a hitch. There will be bumps. I'm confident we'll figure it out, but going exactly to plan, that's very unlikely to happen. As far as the promises go, I'm as guilty as the next person of overcommitting to doing X or Y in a project meeting when I can see that a team is struggling or I know I can help them. A couple of things I do to try and keep this under control. My first tactic is putting time in my calendar to do the work when I say I'm going to deliver something, and usually that means that there's probably less time than I thought. Secondly, I ensure that I'm being transparent about the situation if things are not going well. Being transparent is one thing, but also being positive about how you will be able to solve the problem is part of that transparency. So what action could you take? Maybe consider making one micro promise this week, following it through without fail. Hold yourself to account in some way. So here's the question. What action will you take to strengthen your personal power this week? Let me know in the comments. Remember, project leadership isn't about the authority you have, it's about the influence you build. I'll see you in the next video where we'll take a look at some communication strategies that you can use as a project leader. If you got value from this episode, then share it on. Until then.